The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
All right, people, break out your notebooks and pencils and slide rules. You're listening to Tech Talk Radio with true geeks. And by the way, I'm Dee Snyder, and I'm a geek too.
And welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And we are the show that talks about computers,
technology,
and the internet. And we need to start off the show sending condolences to Justin. A family member of his has passed away. And so Justin's going to be out for a couple of weeks dealing with that. But from everybody here, we send our thoughts and condolences to the family. But it's good to see you, Shawn. Everything going well there in good old South Bend?
Yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, we did 3 shows on 3 separate networks.
3 separate. So for those who don't know, Shawn works for Notre Dame, and you help compile all the sports shows and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, so I'm a broadcast engineer for the University of Notre Dame, specifically Notre Dame Studios, which handles, I call us the live arm of the university. Basically anything live, broadcast-wise, or university-wise that comes out of the university goes to our department. And last Saturday, we did a men's basketball game on the CW, women's lacrosse on ESPN, and Notre Dame hockey on Peacock.
All within the same day. So how do you do something like that where you go from one location, obviously in hockey, and then you go to lacrosse? Is it all pre-set up? Do you set that up?
Oh, yeah, we have a team that just kind of sets it all up and gets going, and 2 of the games happen simultaneously. So men's basketball and lacrosse happened both at the same time, and then hockey didn't start until much later in the evening. I was in charge of basketball and lacrosse, and then kind of babysat hockey a little bit for a newer employee who's getting his feet wet in hockey. But it was like a 16-hour day on Saturday.
Now, do these air on the CW, Peacock, and whatever network picks it up? Do they also air live on the web? Like, do you stream it so people who went to Notre Dame, they can actually watch it?
So it depends on what platform it is, right? It all depends on the media rights. So the CW just airs on the CW. The lacrosse game was on ACC Network Extra.
Yeah.
And then hockey was streamed on Peacock. So you'd have to have a subscription to watch Peacock. But other than that.
Now, I know last year you got a chance to go out to the NAB the big, it's like the National Association of Broadcasters. They do this big thing where you get to see the latest tech and the latest software, the latest hardware, everything that's happening with that. Are you going to be going again this year?
No. The biggest show that we do for the university, it's 2 days, 20 hours of content over those 2 days. Wow. It's called Notre Dame Day. It's the biggest fundraiser we do for the university. Falls on the Tuesday, Wednesday of NAB.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So I had tickets. I had my hotel booked, I had my flights booked and everything. They announced the days for the Notre Dame Day, and it fell right on that Tuesday, Wednesday of NAB, plus that Saturday. This is a lot. There's a lot happening in that stretch. The Notre Dame Blue Gold football game, the spring game, is happening that Saturday, not being able to set up for ND Day until Sunday and Monday. It's just a whole rigmarole of things that just fell that, I got to go once. It was the first time I'd ever been. Yeah. I was excited to go back because, you miss stuff the first time you go to a conference, right? You don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you are. And now I can't go again.
And then you found out that they had an exhibit. You didn't even know. Yeah,
well,
that happens.
My boss was like, well, let's find another one. He's like, well, let's go to Infocom, right?
Yeah.
That falls over my birthday.
Oh, man.
So I've already got plans for my birthday because it's my 40th. So the technical gods have not fallen in my favor for conferences this year. Maybe I'll get to go to IBC, which is the International Broadcasters Conference, which is in Amsterdam, which would be awesome.
Now you will be going to this year's gaming conference.
Oh yeah, I'll move heaven and earth to go to that. I've been going to that for over a decade.
You always send us some great photos from that too. I mean, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's called Gen Con. It's called Gen Con.
Yeah,
it's dubbed as the best 4 days in gaming. It's outside of Essen, which is the game conference in Germany. It's one of the largest tabletop gaming conferences in the world. It's a 4-day event in Indianapolis. Board games, RPGs, D&D, card games, Magic the Gathering, you name it. It'll be done there.
Wow.
It's a great time. But I've been going since 2014. But I've had friends and family that have been going for all the way back into the 70s when it started. So,
wow. That's going to be good. Well, we'll look forward to the coverage on that one. But a lot going on this week. Apple has been in the news because they had their big conference. They've got some stuff coming up towards later in this week before the show airs. And there was some other information that went out that maybe they didn't want to go out. But first off, I got to ask you about the iPhone 17e. Did you get to watch the Apple announcement or any part
I
of
did not. I've been so busy. I haven't kept up on that. I know that they announced the 17E. I don't honestly even know any of the details.
It has the A19 chip, 256 gig base storage, and 48 megapixel camera. And they said that the starting price of this is going to be about $599. Because I think when we think of smartphones, we now put those in that $899 to $1,500, depending on what features you're going to get. So having a phone that runs on the iOS interface that people do like is probably a really good thing. People are going to be liking the fact that they can get now a phone not as expensive. There was a lot of people talking about the last model that they put out, the S model, and they said that stood for super cheap, I think is what you had mentioned last.
Yeah, the SC. Yeah,
SC, yeah.
I think Caitlin had the 15 SC or whatever at one point. It had the plastic back, and it was it just was not a great phone.
Those that are in the iOS interface that don't have the money to get the Pro Maxes and the Pros and whatnot, they just want a phone. This could be a good solution for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's looking for a reliable, relatively inexpensive option. Not everybody can afford to drop $1,100 on a phone.
Yeah,
which is a lot, right? That's just a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if you don't buy it outright, you're tied into some dumb 2-year contract with inflated prices. You're tied into their contract. And you don't own the phone. It's the whole thing, right? I personally buy my phones directly from Apple, and then I own it. I can do what I want with it. I can go to whatever carrier I want. If I wanted to leave Verizon, it just feels better to me to do that versus Verizon owning the phone, being able to control a lot more of the back end of stuff. But
the downside too was when you buy a phone and you're paying for it and you're paying on, the month system. Well, what happens is after a while, you end up finding that they've got a new model now, and you maybe own your phone for maybe 7 months. And something
they always have these aggressive buyback programs, right? But it's like the life cycle of devices, the way the technology is going so fast, right? Is the life cycle of devices is 1 year.
Yeah.
And it's done. Like 1 year and we're on to the next thing.
That causes some people fatigue though, doesn't it? I mean,
sure, of course it does.
Yeah.
Because there's a consumer mindset. Consume means to just take and consume. Some people have an addiction to consuming, meaning I have to have the newest best thing. It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. I'm running an iPhone 13 Pro.
Right.
And before that, I had a 7 Plus.
Yeah, you waited a while.
I'm satisfied with my phone. It does everything I need it to do.
Right.
And more, it does more than I need it to. I also don't live on my phone, right?
What they'll tout, though, is faster processing, longer battery life, which, again, every time they put out a new device, that's what they're going to say, whether it's Samsung or whether it's Apple or Google.
Right. So it's interesting because in my mind, the world of technology, it was all about compression, better data speeds, better file sizes, right? That's going to continue to get better, which it does, which means you can store more and do it faster.
Right.
But we just keep extending how big things are, how big the files are, right? Nobody needs to record 8K on their phone. Nobody needs to record 4K on their phone. If you're watching it on a 2-inch, 4x2-inch screen, right? No, you're never going to notice that.
But a content creator might want some of those features.
Sure. No, I understand. But again, I don't make money off my phone. It serves a purpose. I text and scroll YouTube and Reddit on my phone. That's all I do.
Do you think some of the phone manufacturers, whether it be the big three or whatnot, would eventually like you to not have a computer, a laptop, and have you to do
that's what Amazon wants. That's what Jeff Bezos has come out and said. I want you to rent your computer in the cloud. I want you to do all your computer processing in the cloud. You're just going to have a screen that connects to the internet, and that's your computer. You're not going to do any of your processing in the cloud. And Microsoft's been toying with it. Xbox does it. You can do Xbox streaming. It's crazy to think that not only are you not going to own your content, you're not going to own the devices that it's done on, meaning if you don't have internet, you're just hosed.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird place we're in now where you're just, as a consumer, you're starting to just not own things, including
games,
your own stuff that you pay for.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
We don't see this as much, or we don't hear about this as much in the smartphone world or even tablet world. But as PC users, we're finding everything is more expensive now. Hard drive space. I saw a kid the other day. I was walking by. I was coming out of the grocery store here, and I was going to get in my car, and I saw a kid sitting in the car, probably about 19, 18 years old, and he was going through a package, and he opened it, and I just, I caught it the corner of my eye, and it was RAM. And the kid had a couple of, it looked like HyperX memory sticks. And I looked at him, and this window was down. I said, "Did you get a good deal on those?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, a friend of mine from work sold them." Because RAM right now is at a premium. Hard drive space, we're hearing now, is coming at a premium because it's all going to, well, AI developers or AI cloud storage.
We have talked on the show over the decade that I've been on the show. We've just been constantly talking about, here's how you build your own computer. It's so much fun. It's relatively inexpensive. It's cheaper than buying it from the store. Now it's just expensive.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
I had a shop recently, and I think I may have said this story. I built 2 high-end computers for them. I mean, top-of-the-line graphics, top-of-the-line storage, top-of-the-line RAM, top motherboard, the whole bit. They loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I remember the owner of that company called me, and he said, "Hey, I need a new system." And I told him, I said, "Cool. What are you going to do with it?" And he told me, he says, "It's going to be for accounting, but occasionally he wants to do some printing on it. He works with Corel, works with it's for a print shop." And I said, "Cool. Let me see what I can come up with." I started pricing out the boards, the memory, that system that originally, a couple of years ago for a new one, he spent $1,850 for. This system, that's without monitor, without keyboard, mouse, the whole bit. This system was going to be close to $2,600. And that's just so I could still make a little on it. But for him to get the top of the line, his son ended up finding I think it's a Dell. He ended up getting a high-end Dell system that was great. It had everything. I mean, he still ended up hiring me to come in and transfer his data from the old computer and get it onto the new one. But in hindsight, you can't buy a computer you could do a year ago for the same amount of money.
No, I know. It's wild to think, I upgraded my RAM when Monster Hunter Rise came out.
Yeah, that's right.
Because, I was running 16 gigs of RAM, and it was like at the bottom end of the specs for that. And I bumped it up, so I'm running 32 gigs of RAM now, and it was DDR5. And I looked back at that. I'll have to look. But I know it was it's 3 times the price of what I paid for it now.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. You're almost better off going right now to big box stores. Like if you don't get Best Buy, check out their open box stuff. I've had great success with a laptop that I bought in open box. Saved quite a bit of money on that. But even stores like Costco or Sam's Club, I mean, I've always touted, build it yourself. You're going to have the joy of building it yourself, but you got to have a little deeper wallet or be very selectful now. Maybe not spend as much on that high-end graphics card. Maybe go a couple generations down and spend a little more on the RAM or what you would want for RAM.
So think about it, right? NVIDIA said, man, we're not making cards until 2027.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for game development?
Yeah.
What does that mean for, you just had this ridiculous rise in quality of video games, right? The last 2 decades, it just exploded. But now we've just hit this plateau where they can't develop games that people are going to be able to play because they don't have the equipment to do it. So is it going to level off for a while? Are we going to see a decrease in quality so that we can get people back in on those that are running the 2060s and the 1060s, 1070s? Like there's a lot of people still running a lot of those cards, a lot of those early generation RTX cards. Can't afford to upgrade now.
Well, the other thing too is the game developers will just say, well, let's just port it. So instead you're buying something on a console, whether you have an Xbox or a PlayStation, a Nintendo, you're just going to be playing it on that console.
Or are we going to be forced down a fork in the road that takes us to AI? You just stream it in the cloud. Yeah. The cloud can support it now. We've got all these crazy GPUs and stuff that you can rent in the cloud.
Right.
I don't want to rent to play the games that I own.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I got an hour to play games. Let me dial up the Amazon instance for an hour. Well, that's $4.85 per hour or something stupid. That's what it's coming down to. I deal enough with SaaS in the cloud right now, software as a service, for those of you who don't do cloud stuff. Right. And it's money. The clock literally starts ticking as soon as you run the instance, and the bandwidth is there. And if you don't shut it off, you pay for it. So it's wild to think that that's where we're going, where we're going to just have a meter running on our computer. So now what? I used to pay for internet. I mean, I still pay for internet, right? But you still pay by the minute. We're just back to paying more for what we already had at less quality.
I was talking to somebody the other day about that, about the cost of things versus, and let's face it, there are AI solutions now for just about anything. And I was telling him, I've got the Adobe Suite. I do the whole cloud, Creative Cloud, do the full thing on that. And I found something new that's available from Adobe. It's the Adobe Animator, which is actually kind of fun. I don't see a practical purpose for it, at least for me yet, but it's kind of fun to play with. And it's neat. But I had taken a photo of Mickey Rooney that I had with me and my former morning show partner. And it was bad. I was taken with film camera back in 1992. Not the best situation, not the best camera. So I took this photo and I was looking at it and going, I wish this was a better picture. So I put it in Photoshop and I was adjusting it a little. And I was like, okay, it's still. And then I said, Bart, let's see what Gemini can do. And Gemini cleaned it up. And the thing is, it's like, I wonder if people will get to a point where they go, well, let's just let AI do it. Is Adobe going to eventually, I mean, I know this is probably stupid to even say, but will Adobe eventually just say everything's AI, but it's our AI model now? And you need to create this, tell it what you want to create, and it can do it. I wonder if some of these great softwares like, Adobe or some of the Corel or some of those others will eventually all just be cloud-based.
We're about to go into a dark black hole of content.
Yeah.
And it's going to be AI content. And corporations don't care about who they pay for their art as long as it looks good and sells product, right? So now you're going to take all of this human element out of art, and it's going to become so sterile and so ugly.
Yeah.
And it might not look ugly, but it's going to feel ugly. You're in a world right now where you have to critically think about stuff to whether or not it's AI.
Yeah.
Was that image generated AI? Was that video generated AI? Trust but verify. How do you do that in a world of AI where everything looks so good?
It's getting better too.
And it's getting better. And now you're paying pennies on the dollar for content that would have cost, X amount of dollars for a real person to do it with revisions and feedback and critical feedback. You're paying somebody for a product. Those people are now out of jobs. You're taking fundamental humanity out of the world in content creation for just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so mind-boggling that in a world that values art and humanities, we're just tossing it into the wood chipper.
Let's take, for an example, something that I experimented with this week. And I sent one to Shawn and one to Justin. People have been telling me about Suno. And Suno is a generative AI music platform that helps you create high-quality songs, including lyrics, vocals, and instrumentation. All you do is you simply text prompt it, and you can generate music in various genres and by describing the style, the mood, the topic. Now, for me as a professional in broadcasting that does a lot of commercial production for others as well as this station too, the idea of buying a music library has been great. We've got a music library here on CD that we've had since 1994, and it sounds like it. But we find that there are ways to use that and shorten stuff up, and it sounds good. It's good. But I was doing commercial for somebody else the other day, and we needed some upbeat kind of fun music. And I thought I couldn't find anything. So I went on to Suno and I started looking at it. And then I was like, oh, I can ask it to generate this. So I had it create a song for us for Tech Talk Radio. And I was I'll be honest with you, I was blown away.
You sent it to me and you just said, hey, listen to this. You didn't tell me it was AI. And I was like, oh, this is a good country song. And I was like, oh, wait, it's about TikTok. Oh, wait, it's using our names.
It's mentioned you.
Oh, this is cool. Oh,
right.
It's AI.
It's AI.
Oh, it's cool. Now it's conflicted, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of uproar now, Shawn, but people are saying, wait a minute, that people are going to create music. My son has created music, has put out albums, but he did it the old-fashioned way. I mean, you actually, you had to put together the beats, you had to do all of that. Now they have computers that can generate these instruments that sound so good. The vocals even sound good. It's a song that is really just yours because it's created with your prompts. And they have a free plan. They also have a paid option. I went ahead and I did the paid option because I said to myself, I don't want another subscription, but $10 a month and I can cancel at any time. I want to see what I can do with this. I want to do a segment on CAMSB Fox 11 about Suno. But to be able to use something that I create, I have to have a paid plan. And say I have a paid plan and I create something with it, and then I have it on the website. Well, if I stop my paid plan, legally, I have to take it off the website.
Yeah.
Because it's really their creation.
Yes.
I'm paying to use it.
Yes. That's what people don't understand. When you're generating this stuff on there, in the fine print, you don't own a thing in some of these places. A lot of the free ones, a lot of the stuff that you can get for free or that's cheap, you don't own it. Meaning if you create something that goes viral, they can come back and say, well, that's really ours. So you could potentially owe us a bunch of money for that.
Yeah.
Or
you continue to pay the license.
Yeah.
So you can still have it.
It's wild to think how much people don't realize they don't own anymore.
It's like that guy, Seth Drums. And I don't know how he gets his music. I don't know if he uses Sony or another, but he takes songs, and you got to look at this guy online, Seth Drums. He creates these songs, but he gives them a twist. So imagine In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins done as a dark country song. And it sounds really good. I honestly have listened to a song thinking I would buy a CD of these songs. They're the songs we love yet, but they've had takedowns because it's songs that somebody else has recorded, obviously, and he's just manipulating them.
Yeah, and I've said it before, Andy, it's just getting to a scary point where you're just taking the human element out of everything.
And how do you do that with music?
We're in such a weird spot with AI right now. Like,
we don't know what to believe.
You don't. And, I'm finding myself using less and less AI.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't do it because if I need to know, like, I do it just rarely to look up, hey, can you calculate this resistor value for me? Or like things like that. Like, can you find this in the manual for me? But it's like, I'm not using it to do stuff. However, the music thing or the pseudo.
Yeah.
I've had this project that I've wanted to do for a long time.
Right.
So BlizzCon, which is the Blizzard convention they do every year. Well, they have a short film contest.
Oh, wow.
And for the longest time, I've wanted to do a parody video. So think of it like, those old CD commercials that had the scrolling song titles, and they would come out and talk about them and air like 5-second clips of these songs.
Right.
A 10 CD compilation of all these songs. And I want to do parodies of real songs, but in like Blizzard thematics, right?
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
And I've never had an opportunity because it's like, how do I come up with song titles? How do I come up with songs that I want to do? How do I come up with the songs? How do I develop the songs? Suno.
Yeah.
You sent me that song, and I'm sure I can even say like, give me a, because there's like one specific song that I know that would work well with the MC Hammer song. I know I can get it to prompt me to make it sound something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm conflicted because I don't want to use AI, but I know I can do it with AI, and I think I can do it well. But how will the community react if I do something with AI, right? Because the gaming world is very much against using AI for stuff.
Yeah, they are.
But content creators are not.
Well, I think so. There's that medium. If you just throw slop, just throw it at people, they just I'm done with it, right? But if it's enough, if it's a mixture of your art or your music with that all combined, I mean, there's no difference in me going out and spending $100 on a bundle of music that I can use for 6 months than doing something like this. It's just not right.
It's just not right.
Yeah.
And it's the uncanny valley. It's so hard to identify where that is anymore.
I mean, you feel
you can, right? And it's now becoming an ethical thing where it's like if you don't tell somebody you made it with AI, that's just awful. Right? You have to say, this is created with AI.
Yeah.
You can't go in to a project or something that you're claiming is your own and saying, I made this.
Right.
And not telling people it's made with AI. Because that's just disingenuous. Right? That's bad. It's unethical. A human element that says, this is something that you created. This adds value to you as a person. And if you're claiming that you made this, you put all the effort into it, and it turns around and that it's AI, and you just typed in a prompt, that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, there was a picture earlier this week. As a matter of fact, just before we recorded the show, I pulled up, and it was a photo of a downed pilot after last weekend, and this downed pilot, female pilot, was shot down by friendly fire in Kuwait. And it was 3 of the villagers, people that lived in this village that she parachuted down and landed, that were helping her. And it was a very warm photo. And I looked at it and I thought, wow, that's great. But now I can't look at a photo and say, wait, is that AI? Was that created? Because you can't tell.
You can't tell.
Exactly.
And if somebody doesn't tell you, it's on you to look it up. I'm just so tired of having to go, is this AI or not?
Yeah.
I'm just avoiding reading a lot of stuff right now. I'm sure I get served AI content all the time that I think is real.
Yeah.
If I'm just scrolling through quickly.
Oh, they're doing it
and you can tell, like on YouTube Shorts, you can tell when it's an AI generated voice, skip, thumb down, whatever. Yeah. But you just don't know anymore. And it's easy for a copywriter, an editorial staff to just rely on ChatGPT to clean up to clean it up a little bit, to polish it a little bit. And now you're getting AI mixed in with news it's just a weird ethical place, and I don't know how to feel about it.
We got to take another break, but when we come back, we do have a listener question, and I know you are the person, Shawn, to answer it. So we'll do that when we come back with Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird. Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
I'm really enjoying listening to your show. It's really cool.
Well, thank you.
Very, very informative. For us rookies, especially.
Are you a rookie?
I'm very much a rookie.
So I wanted to redeem myself. Since we were talking about AI and Photoshop and all that, I did something. Now, I think tell me, Shawn, does this make it okay? So I had a picture of Gloria after we had met Ozzy Osbourne years ago, 2000, I want to say 2, maybe it was. And it was a great photo. And she's like with her back to me, and she's got a shirt on. It has Ozzy on the shirt, and her glasses are kind of down so you can see her eyes, right? It was taken with a film camera, and it was taken in our bedroom, which had beige walls. You could see the vertical blinds in the back. And I thought, this picture, I like the picture. Gloria looks great, but it's still. So I put it into Gemini, and I said, can you clean this up for me? And it gave me, that looks a lot better. And I said, hey, can you fix the background? And I put in what the prompts were. This was after meeting Ozzy Osbourne. It's music oriented, and if you could enhance it. And it gave a new background to the picture, and it looked really good, right? I showed it to Gloria, and she's like, it's good, except I have green eyes. So I did the prompt. Add green eyes, because you can see her eyes. And I don't know what it was thinking, but it made her serpent green eyes. They're like taking over the whole land. It's like, this is not going to fly. So I ended up going, and I used AI for the information. I opened up Photoshop, and I asked my AI, I said, hey, how do I change the color of an eyeball in a photo that I have? And it talked me through it to go in and create a separate layer, go in and highlight what you want to change, go and create a separate layer, and then adjust the coloring in that layer. Came out perfect. So I was able to use Photoshop and AI to get it done. Does that make it okay if you adjust it using Photoshop, or is it still?
No. So there's a difference between just prompting AI and then shilling the result.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're using AI as a tool, which it is, to ask for help and learn how to do a skill, that's different.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you are using Photoshop to adjust. Photoshop's been around for a long time. People have been manipulating photos with Photoshop for a very, very long time. Some people are very, very good at it.
Yeah.
That to me is a little bit less of a gray area than using just AI to do it.
Yeah.
But it's still photo manipulation, right? It's still not real. It's still. So I have a pretty long-standing self rule with my photography. I can't say never. I very rarely will use Photoshop or anything to do any editing in my photos.
Really?
Wow. The only post-production I do on 99% of my photos is in Lightroom, and it's basic functions.
Yeah.
brightness, contrast, color balance, some sharpening, things like that. I'm very awful at Photoshop. I've tried my hand at it. I'm not good at it. So my photos would not benefit from that. But I just don't do anything outside of what I can do in Lightroom. Yeah, okay, that might include some AI noise reduction.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing any addition. I'm not doing any retraction. It's just those basic functions. For me, that's something that I'm hard stuck on. I just don't do eye color changes. I don't do blemish removal. I don't do any of that. It doesn't serve me a purpose.
Well, the new Lightroom, you could do multiple blemish changes across several individuals.
At what point am I almost forced into using AI in this stuff, right? I don't want to. I'm holding on to Lightroom Classic because it doesn't bring in some of those features and functions that I don't want. I don't need. Right. The subscription model, you get those. You're tied into them. It's so hard to pay for a subscription for a lot of the content you don't use, but you have no options.
Yeah.
I can't buy a copy of Lightroom anymore. I have to subscribe to it. Now,
or have the older version, Now,
they show it to you as, you get the most up-to-date features, you get the updates, you get the upgrades, well, I don't want that stuff. I want this version that I know that I've worked on for so long. We're in such a weird place with technology.
Yeah. All right, let's get
I'm tired.
Let's get to our question. This is from Bill in Sahuarita. All right. It says, hey guys, saw your segment on Fox 11 and found your show. Well, that's good. Said, I enjoy it, but wonder. I'd like to get a home security camera. So he was obviously watching when we were doing our segment about the Google Nest doorbell camera and Garafit. But he says, your segment went by pretty fast. What are some products I should look at? And as Google, as bad as it sounds. And, with the Nancy Guthrie case, Google did get a lot of people saying, wait, that's a worthless camera. If you have a Google Nest doorbell, it can serve as a way to answer your door. And that's kind of what we were talking about in the segment. So if you were in the backyard or even away from your home, you can answer the door without a subscription. You don't have to have a subscription for that. It will store 3 hours of that video content. So you can go back and look and say, wait, who came by my house at 1 a.m, or who came and delivered earlier today? Or was the dog outside in the front yard? That will do. However, there's no SD card in that Google device. And matter of fact, I have the Google Nest, another security camera. There's no SD card in it. So I have to pay a subscription per year, which I believe is 60, maybe $85, something like that. But the quality is good. So they aren't really as bad as it sounds. It's just in this particular case, we heard a lot about Google Nest doorbell, no capture. They had to scrub through the video to find what they were able to find so far, and there's probably more that they're discovering. But they aren't. You should not look at Google, but there are other options.
It all depends on what you want to pay for, what features you want.
Yeah,
right. I'm a big Wise proponent. I think their cameras are great.
Wise, WYZE.
WYZE. I think you can get a lot out of just the Cam Plus subscription. To be honest, I don't know what the current subscription models are. Yeah. I've been tied into, I have the unlimited Cam Plus plan, which means I can get Cam Plus for an unlimited number of cameras on my account, and it's $99 a year.
A year, okay.
A year. So every year I get charged $99 for the Cam Plus across every camera that I own, and I think I have 12.
Wow, because I know with the 60 I pay, it just covers the doorbell, the another room that we have, and then of course the main Nest Cam.
Yeah,
and the more cameras you have, the more you will pay with Google.
Yeah.
So the Wise plan, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
you can add a camera, and they won't add more money to it.
No, it's unlimited. I have an unlimited. I can just keep adding Cam Plus as long as I have the camera. Right, I have to add the camera and the serial number and all that stuff. And that served me well, right? I've got the doorbell camera. I've got a camera on the front of my house. I've got a camera on the back of my house. I've got a camera upstairs. I think I have 6 cameras on right now. And right. I've got other ones that I could put in places that I have more cameras than I really need, but I've also upgraded from, the version 2s to the version 3s to the version 4s. And so I have some of those older ones that are sitting around not doing much. But they can run RTSP, so I can bring them in without even going to the cloud if I want to. Some of the older cameras, you can run some custom firmware on them.
They do have SD, right? You said that?
They have SD cards in them, yep.
Yeah.
So you can record locally. So any event that's recorded is recorded locally and is viewable in the cloud, which is great. And it uses some of their AI features like package detection, vehicle detection, person detection, that kind of thing. And I've had a really great experience with Wise. The occasional outage for service or maintenance or whatever, they did have a couple security concerns over the years that, granted, that's just a nature of doing business in the cloud, a nature of doing an Internet of Things business.
Yeah.
The expectation is that something is going to happen with your data. And that's a terrible thing to say. The U.S. does not have good consumer protection laws against stuff happening in the cloud, and we're just not great at it. That's a whole nother conversation another time. But every business has your data stored, and they're supposed to do it securely, following the rules. Something happens, it gets leaked, Wise just had a couple instances of that very early on. I've had a great experience with them. I don't feel that the data that's available for them from me is not a concern.
How about the quality of the camera? Because that's the other thing too. You want to be able to see. Now, Reolink has gotten some great reviews about some of their products. The cameras are a little more expensive. I don't know if there is as much as some of the Google Nest devices, but I have one Reolink camera, and I remember the quality on it is very good. How about Wise as?
Yeah, I don't think I would go below the fours, the 4 or the the 4 Pros. You saw some pretty significant quality increases up to the 4. I think they do 2.5K. The newest ones might even do 4K. The V1s, the V2s, the V3s, you're not going to get your money's worth out of those anymore.
They even sell, from what I understand, Wise has they have the camera system. It's 2 lights. It can go over your garage. So it's high enough that, unless somebody's bringing a camera, a ladder with them, but they go over your garage, and then there's a camera that's mounted and it can be turned. So you can see, hey, what's going on over by our front door or over towards the back of the house. You can turn that.
With the doorbell camera, which I've had since 2019, I think 2020 even, I can see and read a license plate in a car parked in my driveway, which is probably 25 feet away.
Yeah.
Now, we had an instance where some people broke into cars in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
This was maybe 2 years ago. And, the car came down our road, turned out their lights as they were driving, and then happened to park in front of our house and peruse the neighborhood and break into some cars.
Wow.
And I was able to provide that footage, and it was relatively difficult to make out the make and model of the car. It was nighttime, so the quality was lower. The car was moving as it went by, so it was kind of hard to tell. But I was able to go, well, I think it's a PT Cruiser. I don't know if that's what a car was, but that's what it looked like. But
right.
So you're not going to be able to, but that was 65, 70 feet away or more. But you could tell there were 5 or 6 people that got out of the car, and they walked around the neighborhood. You could watch them as they walked and stuff, and other people caught them on their doorbell cameras and stuff too. But as far as like quality of somebody come up and ringing the doorbell, I can immediately tell who it is.
Yeah.
I can see who it is. I can see if it's Amazon. I can see quality is good enough for me. Your mileage may vary, but
not to stick with a theme here too, but a lot of the companies are selling it as AI face detection. So it will tell you who's at the door.
I think it's just using their cloud. AI was a buzzword for a long time early on.
It
right?
still
AI
is.
in the cloud. Well, it's just using the cloud. It's just using just some generic face detection version software that
looks like Jim Carrey, but it might be a guy in a mask. It could be it too. That's something to think about. So when it comes to cameras, definitely Wise is one to look at. They make a doorbell camera. Are they easy for somebody, listening to this thinking, we want to do this? My neighbor keeps telling me, I want to do it. I told her I'd do it for her. She buys the device. I'll go ahead and install it for her. Are they easy to install?
Very.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have a decent, like, you can't set it 200 feet away from your Wi-Fi router and expect it to work.
Yeah.
Right. You've got to be centrally located. Our house is not that big. The majority of the cameras are sub 100 feet from the router. They connect on 2.4 gig. We're not in a busy neighborhood, so our Wi-Fi is not super congested. I've had very minimal problems connecting to my cameras. It takes a few seconds on the app to add it. You scan the QR code. It's up and running. You type in which Wi-Fi you want it to be on, and then you add it into your devices, and you're up and running. And then wherever you put it in your house, within reason, it will connect and work. The only downside with the Wise that has been a bummer for me is that it's cloud connected only. You can still store stuff locally on the SD card, but if you want to view the stuff through the app, it has to go through the cloud. So you have to be pushing content to the cloud if you want to see it on your phone. I don't know how many options there are out there that don't do that, where if you're out and about, there's no way for you to get content if you're not pushing it to the cloud to your device. There's just no way around that. So unless you're completely isolated into an on-prem solution, again, against the point of buying a home security system if you're away and want to be able to see what's happening. So you have to have some sort of cloud premise for your security system. So it's all up to brand preference. It's all up to just do your research. Like, find people that have different opinions on it than you do. Read the reviews. Go in and, you got to just do your due diligence on the stuff that you're concerned about. And if you're putting it in your house for your own home security, if you don't do your due diligence on finding out whether or not this product is safe, whether or not they've had hacks, or whether or not, they're going to steal your data or whatever, that's on you. So you got to spend a little bit of time and do the research, and, you can trust us if you want. I feel like we're pretty trustworthy.
We kind of. I will say, before we got to take a break, Garafit is the one I looked at and I showed on television, but we were kind of out of time at the end. Garafit's interesting because it goes inside your window. It sticks to your window. You clean the window. There's no glare. It uses Chroma AI, and it enhances from black and white to color. It's I want to say it's 2K, might be 4K, and it has an SD card inside, or you could push it to the cloud. And it is inexpensive. They're about $40. So that's another solution. If you want to point a camera and it's inside your house, outside, that's something to look at. Got to take that break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on Facebook at Tech Talkers. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
So we just talked about Wise in the last segment, the Wise cameras.
Yeah.
Something that I've used, and we talked about it again. I say this all the time. We talked about it on the show before.
Yeah.
The Wise Smart Switch. Mm-hmm. It's touted as a switch that you take out an existing 120 volt switch. You put this one in line with your normal power.
Right.
And it creates a smart switch that you can then tap. You can do multiple functions: single tap, double tap, triple tap, long press, etc.
And what would you be able to achieve with that?
You can make rules. Turn this light bulb on, turn that light bulb off, turn the cameras on, turn the cameras off. You can do whatever you want. Any rule you can create, you can assign it to one of these functions. The problem is it's not convenient because you have to replace a switch.
Oh, yeah,
you actually have to replace a switch. You have to physically wire it in. I thought it was going to be portable. Like, I could set it on the shelf or set it on the counter or set it on my desk. I have 3 of these in my house. None of them are actually mounted in the wall as a normal switch, because I said, you know what? I wonder if I could make one. I could make one of these work. So I tore it apart.
Right.
And we've talked about me doing a segment on this, and I want to do it now because this is actually a thing. So I got an email from Wise a couple days ago, and it said, we want your feedback on a beta option that we're thinking about doing. The Wise Click, a smart button concept.
All right.
Key features: single press, double press, multi-button, works with Wise devices, reusable adhesive mounting and optional mounting plates, integrates with Alexa, Google Home, IFTT, no wiring required, portable and movable.
Wow.
I made one of those.
Oh, you're kidding me. And now
I'm holding up the Wise Switch, which is the guts of the Wise Switch, right? All the Wise Switch is a 120 volt transformer that drops it to 5 volts to power the logic board.
Right.
So in here, I just took off the back. I took out the power transformer, bought a 2-inch gang box, mounted the guts in there, mounted the faceplate to it, and internally wired on a USB to the 5 volt leads. Right. So now I just use a regular wall phone charger that does 5 volts, and I can do things like this.
Which would be?
I can turn on the white lights.
just by using this.
I
All
can
right.
double tap on the switch to make them blue again.
Oh, that's
I
great.
can long press to turn them all off. All because I just took a Y switch, broke it apart, took the logic board out off the transformer, put it in a 2-inch gang box, used 2 zip ties to tie it together with a USB cable that I chopped up and used the power leads for.
Do you think Wise was watching you on their Wise cams?
I don't know, maybe, but I think we've talked about this enough on the show. I'm going to buy another one of these,
Right.
and do it. It takes me less than 20 minutes to put it together.
Wow.
And
how
you
much
could do it right now. You don't have to wait for them to come up with a new product. You could do it with this. Everything they talked about in this email was, what would you use it for? Why would you use it? Would you make it portable? Would you want it to be rechargeable?
Right.
You just plug this in. We use it all the time upstairs for our lights in the main room. The boys
That's
can
great.
go over and push the button. It turns on both light bulbs in the living room. You double tap it to dim them to 2%. So at nighttime, it's not as bright, or in the morning. Long press turns off all the lights on the main floor of the house. So when it's like, hey, Max, it's time to go to bed, he goes over, long press, turns off all the lights on the main floor.
Right. There's other manufacturers who offer this. Roku obviously has that as well with their smart bulb systems. Google does offer that integrated with their Home Assistant. If you've got that, or even, the Amazon devices, you could do that as well with theirs, but you're doing it yourself. I think that makes it even better. How much was it, the total project for you, like, to get it done?
Oh, I mean, the gang box is like $1.50.
Wow.
Zip ties I had laying around the house. USB cable came from some device that I chopped up a long time ago.
We'll put pictures of that up on our blog.
Well, I'm just gonna buy a new one,
right,
and just do it.
I got to tell you about something that happened this week. So Gloria went to get her earbuds, and she'd opened it, and one of them was missing. And
brand new?
Well, no, they're about a year old,
but
okay. Still, it was missing. She couldn't find it. We looked in the truck. We looked, in every single room, and we could not locate where this earbud went. You go to the iPhone app, and you could track it, and it says it's here, but it doesn't. We couldn't hear it. We couldn't hear that it's supposed to give off an audible, and it wasn't doing that. And you only have so much time. If the battery dies, once the battery's dead, it's very difficult to track completely, But so he said, it has to be somewhere here. I mean, to the point where I had to take out the trash, Monday delivery. I went through the trash just in case, right? And she ended up finding it. But before she did, I went online and I bought this thing from a company called JMDHKK. It's the K19 Plus RF detector. And I thought, well, maybe this would work. No, absolutely not. Does not really do Bluetooth detection, but I did find it to be kind of cool. If you are somebody that goes to an Airbnb and you go to a hotel room or a motel room or whatever, and you just wonder, is there a camera in here? You can, with this device, sniff out a camera. It uses infrared. So basically, you would turn it around and you would push the infrared button that is on this, and it would light up, and then you could start looking for a camera. You look through a little...
Which is freaking out. It's freaking out your camera. You probably can't see it, but...
Yeah, no, I turned it on. It also does audible. So if you're trying to find RF, I'm moving it around. And if I had a magnet in here in the studio, it might be able to find it, but it can do, and it will give you audibles
I can hear that.
when you get around something. Pretty neat. It sells for about $80. It comes with a light wand as well. So if you want to take this, and you could switch it to magnetic, and what it will do is you could scan under your car and look for a magnet that might be holding on to a tracker. Or if you want to, my home, it was crazy because we've got Wi-Fi everywhere. So it was going nuts. But, for somebody that goes and stays in Airbnbs, this can be a good thing because you look through this and it's lighting it red. It will pinpoint an iris for you. So then there's a camera over here, whether it be a nanny cam or whatnot. And I don't know, it's kind of neat and powers via USB-C. So thought I'd share that with you. It didn't help us find the the AirPod. But either way, it was kind of cool to be able to show. And I showed it on TV for one of the segments as well. But it's anti-eavesdropping, has a flashlight in there you could use as an emergency. But again, it's from JMD HKK, the K19 Plus. All right, we're going to take a break, come back. Something leaked out from Apple. Shawn is going to tell you about that when we come back with Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird. Send us an X at Tech Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
The day before the announcement, Apple is set to release some stuff on March 4th, some new stuff. But the compliance website, the Apple's regulatory website for EU compliance purposes, may have outed the MacBook Neo.
Oh, okay. So how this works, Apple has a product, or any company that comes up with a product they're going to want to distribute, blah, blah, blah. They have to submit it to the EU to say, this is what we want to do. This is what it can do.
There's people find the most creative ways to get this content, right? People are sleuthing all over the internet, trying to find these, stalking the FCC website, stalking the EU regulatory, for any inkling of a new name. And the lower cost MacBook it's already been rumored that it's going to be a lower cost MacBook.
Oh, okay.
It's rumored to feature the iPhone chip, the A18 Pro or the A19 Pro, rather than the M series chip. So sleeking it down, making it smaller. But a 13-inch 12.9 display. And it's also rumored that it's going to have alternate colors, yellow, green, blue, and or pink.
Ooh.
MacBook Neo certainly sounds fun. Maybe getting back into some of those old retro colors.
Wow.
But yeah, so there should be an event Wednesday, the 4th.
Earlier this week, yeah.
Earlier this week, right? As the time of this recording, we didn't know yet, but
well, do you think a low cost, because honestly, my first computer was an Apple IIe, and then I've dabbled in Mac, but I haven't had the most recent MacBook. An office that I worked at, in my office, I had one, and it was a Mac computer, and it was awesome. But I'm kind of wondering, do you think a lower cost Mac would get people who've been Windows based for years to suddenly say, maybe it's time to try Mac?
I really think with the way Windows 11 is going, with all the AI that's coming in and the Copilot stuff, and the now rumored Windows 12 stuff with the subscription-based modeling that's going to include AI features, woof, right? I think they're targeting a great user base that maybe doesn't want to be tied to a desktop PC. For one, desktop PCs and Windows PCs are going to be prohibitively more expensive because of the cost of the chips and the RAM and everything. I think if Apple does this one thing, it's going to sell insanely well. If they make this chip work, because all the signs are leading to it, right? They're using the mobile chip.
Yeah.
Making it a cellular-based MacBook.
Oh.
Think about it, right? The iPad with cellular data sold insanely well. If you make a 13-inch MacBook that can fit literally inside somebody's purse, if you have a purse, bag, small bag, backpack, etc., and you could do some light 4K editing, some 1080p editing, photo editing on the fly, sit in a coffee shop and not be on their Wi-Fi,
right?
And have your own cell phone connection, cellular connection, I think that would be huge.
We'll have to talk more about it next week because we're out of time, but we'll hopefully have all the info. But price-wise, they've said something?
$599 to $799.
Ooh, let's cross our fingers.
Is pretty good, but we don't know any other specs. So,
all right. So tune in next week. We'll have more info for you. Also next week, AI journaling with Rosebud. Something that may be a little different. If you want to journal, this could be a good thing. We'll have a guest on talking, one of the co-founders about Rosebud, about what they can do. That's next week on Tech Talk Radio. In the meantime, have yourselves a great week. Thoughts going out to Justin. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird. Give us a like and subscribe on any podcasting platform that we're on. Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, we're there. Find us.
And
have a
YouTube.
great week. And YouTube.